All right, I received my parts in from Warren. I ordered these. I'll put a link below to where you can find this exact same kit. Now, I'll show you what I had to do. Cut these straps here. I'll open up this box and I'll show you the exact part that I had to order. There we go. Okay, I ended up having to order an entirely new winch because that motor on our other winch was completely shot. I was hoping that wasn't going to be the case. I contacted Warren. They showed pictures on the website of the breakdown of the actual winch that we had. It was a 2.5 CI Warren winch. And they gave the breakdown. I called the company. I called Warren to see if I could order just the motor. That's this portion of it here. And I could not order that winch part from them. It was discontinued, no longer available. So I went ahead and ordered these. Again, I will get you a link on how to get your own of those, but this is what we ended up having to do. So I'm hoping everything bolts right back on. I've got our rope here that I'm going to install, and I'll show you how to do that. I can see we don't have the nuts here, so I'm going to have to use the old nuts off of our other winch, which isn't a big deal. Also, the mounting bolts here aren't included, and thank goodness we have those off the other one. So I'm going to set this down here. We're going to install that rope. All right, so installing the synthetic rope here, we've got the winch set down like this. We've got the actual synthetic rope already stuck through. I didn't know if that was going to be a little bit of a challenge to get through, so I didn't want to wrestle that in front of you, but it really wasn't difficult to do. It's got a tape on the end here, and that kind of allowed us to stick it through that hole there. So now this is what it looks like. Now what we're going to do is wind it up. So we're going to turn this winch in, and you want roughly 6-8 inches there. So we're going to spin it so you can actually take, and if you want a little bit more, you can pull it at this time. And then we're going to take and we're going to spin it. So it's one full turn from when we stuck that rope in. So when we get it all the way to there, to where our rope is coming out the back side, looks like that there. Now what we're going to do is take this rope, and underneath of this, we're going to take the synthetic rope here, shove the loose end underneath of our wound up end there, and we're going to take, and it's going to look just like this. So now we've got your rope there sitting flat. You've got this rope that we could actually cut off the end there. We didn't need to pull quite as much out there, so we'll cut 6 or so inches off, but then you're going to lay that across there while you wind that rope up. It's actually going to tighten itself. So now it's pulling against itself. If you're in the lock position there, it's just only going to get tighter as you pull tighter. So especially when you get another 2 or 3 winds on there, you're going to have a extremely tight winch. So now we're going to install this on the four-wheeler. After we cut our little pigtail off here, we want that to lay flat because you want this to just wind up as flat as possible against this tube here, and then that'll allow that entire synthetic rope to fit inside on this roller here. So that is installing that synthetic rope on that Warren winch. I'm going to put it on the four-wheeler. We're going to finish this thing out. All right, so we have the Warren winch on our Polaris Ranger now. A couple things I wanted to point out to you if you guys were looking at doing this swap. We had that old winch, we put in that new winch. It's a new 2500. Mounts up slightly different, okay? Our terminals coming from our actuator, typically on our old one, sat clear out here on the end of our winch motor. These sit clear in there, so you're going to actually have to install those electrical wires, the blue and the yellow, before you actually put it on the bumper itself. The way that it was before, we could actually just take those posts and put those on after the fact, after everything was installed. Okay, the other thing, I showed you the synthetic rope that we put on there. That was a 50-foot rope. Actually, it was 48 feet. They shorted us 2 feet, which we're not too upset about that. But we had a 50-foot cable, the steel cable, on this roller to begin with. So we went ahead and ordered 50-foot synthetic rope, thinking that it would work okay. We got about 38 feet in there, and that's about all that would fit. So what I had to do then was unravel that rope again, pull all the way out, cut about 10 feet off, and then 38 feet is about all you want to put in that roller. Even at that, we're going to have to be a little bit careful if we're unrolling this entire roll here. If we've got to go a long ways with our cable to pull ourselves out or pull somebody else out, we're going to be really careful how we wind this up so that it's positioned just perfect so that it all fits in there. So I would suggest maybe running like a 30-footer. That way you don't have to be as careful when you're reeling this back in. That was just something that I noticed. All right, so the winch is installed. It's working great. If you guys have questions or comments, make sure and leave those below. If this video has been helpful, I would appreciate a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel if that's helpful to you guys. We've got a ton of other videos on the Polaris Rangers, the 500s, the 570s, 900s, 700s, 800, all of them. We've got a bunch of videos on the Polaris Ranger models. We also have a bunch of videos on other power sports equipment, so make sure and check those out. Thank you guys for watching.